It was yet again another average day at school. That day, we agreed to ditch class to hit up Chad's gym class, which was really strength training class.
"Come on in, Bruce,"
said Chad as he allowed us into the locker room. "Hey, what are you boys doing here?" said Coach Bronnelly, who was a tall, bald man in his 50s. Just here to have fun with the sports and do some volleyball," I said. Sounds good to me, boys." Coach Bronnelly was always very chill, so it was all good. However, even though the idea of some volleyball did sound appealing to us, it's not what we'd be doing that day. We were under the influence of the other coaches, aka the strength training coaches. What we'd be doing that day was no sport in the traditional sense, though. Not even any weightlifting, believe it or not. Rather, we'd be running the mile. You may be thinking, why do we ever run the mile? We're seniors. Well, apparently, the weight room was closed that day due to an incident a few weeks ago, so we had to improvise. "Hey, come on, boys, we're heading outside. Let's go, the coach said. We all finished up in the locker room and headed outside, or went outside.
"Man, just y'all watch. With my new mile time, I'm finna make the Olympics," said Steve. "You, Steve. Here a few tricks up my sleeve that may prevent you from beating me."
Frank cackled.
"Man, shut your bitch ass up. You ain't gonna run for shit, buzzman."
Steve likes to bluff and everything, but we all knew that this time, even though he wasn't really telling the truth about him making the Olympics, obviously, we knew that he could easily beat Frank in a run, as Frank is a potbelly. Well, I think all of us could. Maybe except for Chad, but we'll see.
"That would be a close tie. I don't know, bro. Coach, do you mind if I sit this one out?"
Chad asked the coach. "Chad, you're great in the weight room and all, but you have got to work on your cardio. We've tested you in the treadmill, and you need some serious improvement."
"Well, you see, bro, cardio isn't that good for the gains."
"Chad, I thought you said you wanted to cut down for your six-pack or something."
"Well, cardio is actually forcing the body into survival mode, and when you do cardio, it increases your stress levels, which is terrible for the gains and the six-pack."
"Chad, you're running the mile or you get an F for the semester," the coach said.
"We wouldn't want to do that, nobody, bro, really."
So Chad would be forced to run the mile. I don't see why he wanted to get out of it in the first place. Chad loves fitness. Anyway, we all lined up at the starting line, and Coach starts the timer, and we begin running. Colin and I decided not to sprint the whole way, just to keep a decent pace and make sure we save our energy for more towards the end. Steve, on the other hand, took off like a bullet. He whizzed past us and all the other people in the class.
"Later, bitches, I'm finna get my 320 on."
320 was unheard of, even for the Olympics. Frank, however, did something else. We glanced back and noticed that Frank was still at the starting line. "Frank, what are you doing?" I shouted.
"Don't worry, Nick. I'm just conserving my energy for when I make first place."
We had no time to worry about Frank, however, as we had a mile run to focus on. Chad was in the very back of the pack. He was pushing along, though. He eventually began walking. Typical Chad kind of behavior. He's always kind of lazy, though. Still the most jacked dude in the school. Colin and I completed our first lap, and by the time we did that, Steve was already winded and was walking as well. Him and Chad decided to walk together. "Steve, come on, you gotta finish for your 3:20 mile time," I said.
"Man, I'm already finished, that's all."
"Yeah, sure you did," Colin said sarcastically. We all knew Steve's bullshit. No, we didn't have time to worry about him. We continued running, and before we knew it, Colin and I finished our full 4 laps, and our mile was complete. We had each times of 5:10 roughly. Pretty good, but yeah. Chad and Steve were still walking their mile. I had no idea where Frank went. That was until we saw Frank running down the track behind us. "Oh, Frank, looks like you did a victory lap. Everybody cheer for Frank." "Cheer for Frank? What? How is this possible? Coach, what the fuck is going on?" Colin demanded. "Frank made first place with a mile time of 2 minutes and 30 seconds, he announced. What? No. Frank's fat ass?" said Colin.
"Yeah, man, How does a man do that shit?
said Steve. Frank began.
You secretly completed the race whilst nobody was looking.
I knew what was really going on, though. I figured it out and knew secretly that Frank had actually hid under the bleachers, and then right as before the first person came in, he went to the actual finish line and acted like he had won the race. However, we had no time to worry about Frank, as something else came in. We saw something rolling down the hill towards the track. It was a big blob, a very, very big blob. The noises grew louder and louder and more clear. Oh no, some students said. We then got a close look at who the blob was. It was no one other than Herbert Ernie himself. He rolled down onto the track and started rolling around in circles.
Hurry up, boys. Finish the mile, or you're about to get run over.
Hey, what the fuck is going on here? The coach shouted furiously. Coach wasn't lying. Herbert was indeed about to run over a bunch of people. They were all running slow, with Herbert rolling close behind them. It was like that one scene in Indiana Jones, where Indiana Jones is running in the jungle from that big stone boulder, except way bigger.
You ain't them boys.
Herbert screamed. The class shouts. Before we knew it, the entire class is getting run over by Herbert. Luckily, Herbert's soft and pudgy blubber prevents them from getting hurt in any way, though they were all forced to the ground and were now covered in gross slime and drool. Oh, it smells nasty as fuck, some dude said. Okay, boys, that's enough. We're heading in. Mile canceled. All scores invalid.
But he won. He wants my score to be counted,
Frank said, sounding disappointed.
Buzzman, you were scoring worse shit. You came in fucking last,
said Steve. Had to admit it, but Steve was right. We didn't have time to worry about that as Herbert was onto us. We all sprinted inside, including the coach. We got inside and locked the door just in time for Herbert to come knocking.
Let me in, boys. Let me in. Let me show you my yoga moves.
Though we didn't listen. Why would we? We locked Herbert out and all got changed back in the locker room, trying to ignore and forget about what had just happened. Chad, I knew this is a bad idea, ditching class just to join you, I said.
Well, you know, Bert, sometimes you gotta mix up the routine a little bit. Now, how about we get out of this joint and hit up some sheets for some protein shakes? Man, Chad, that sounds like a fine-ass plan to me, G. I need some gain scrub.
So we just do that. We snuck out of the gym and into Chad's convertible in the parking lot. We hit the road and into the town of Banderville. Next thing we know, we were at the Sheetz gas station. Chad ordered a protein shake, as did Colin and I. Frank ordered a jumbo-sized bag of cheese balls, and Frank got a bologna and cheese sandwich.
Yeah, man, just y'all bitches watch. By the end of the weekend, your boy gonna be looking like the Hulk.
Yeah, whatever you say, Steve, said Colin.
Well, you know, Bruce, the protein shake was quite exquisite, but I think we should all get going back home.
Home? Do we gotta go back to school? I said.
Oh, you know, Bert, we wouldn't want to work and study hard on a full stomach. It causes cramps. It's not good. So, I say we all go home so we can rest up. Rest's just important as the bro workout after all.
Well, Chad was right. It seemed like we didn't even have to go home. Like, bro, school's not even really anything physical, but... yeah, it's whatever. We did just that, as Chad was driving after all. Chad dropped us off at our houses and went inside. That then concludes Ditching Class with Chad.